What is going on, guys? This is Kyle from the Shadow Realm, and today I'm going to be bringing you my Commander deck tech of Elenda the Dusk Rose. Before we get started, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you like these deck techs, tell me how I can change this deck, or send me a deck list of what you got, or any suggestions, anything like that is perfectly fine. But at least leave a like if you like this deck tech. Before we get started, I just want to point out that this deck actually used to be a Yahenni deck, which is actually my first Commander deck, probably my favorite Commander deck right now. Well, actually my green one's my favorite, but this one's very close to me because it was my first really Magic deck ever. So it's going to be drawing some inspiration from the original Yahenni deck. However, this deck's pretty polished right now. It's like $360 if you buy everything individually. So let's get right into it then. So we got Elenda the Dusk Rose. This is a Voltron Aristocrats Commander deck. So that means you're going to be sacking your own creatures, and you're going to be getting Elenda to a very large amount. She has lifelink, so you're going to be gaining a ton of life. Let's go over it. So she's 2 white-black Orzhov for a 1/1, which is not good at all. But let's read her thing. She's a vampire, which is very important. Knight, not so much, but very important that she's a vampire. Lifelink. Whenever another creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Elenda the Dusk Rose. This is any creature. Unlike Yahenni before, where it had to be an opponent's creature, for Elenda it can be any creature, which is amazing because you can just self-sack your own tokens and such. And when she dies, you create X 1/1 white vampire creature tokens with lifelink, where X is Elenda's power. So the trick to this is, if you put Elenda in the command zone, she doesn't die. So you will not get this effect, so you have to send her to the graveyard. We have a bunch of support to help her get back on the field and such, so we don't really worry about that. We actually want her to die in the late game to get all those tokens so that we can start a combo and get her rolling here and gain a ton of life. So again, just like any other Voltron deck, the whole point is to deal 21 damage, 21 commander damage to anybody. The biggest weakness is obviously your main win condition is Elenda, so if people keep countering her, exile, and she gets more and more in the mana cost. White is not good at ramping, black is okay, but both of them together aren't really good for mana, so it's kind of hard. What Orzhov's really good at is black is good for destroying creatures, and white is good for destroying artifacts and enchantments. So you kind of get the best of both worlds, but let's see the rest of the deck here. So if you watch my last deck tech, you might notice that I actually split the deck into multiple parts to help better explain it. So let's start right where the deck struggles, mana. So first we're playing Soul Ring because it's really just should be in any commander deck, really. 1 mana, add 2, really good. Next we got our Orzhov Signet. Put this down a little bit. 2 mana, tap it, add Orzhov. We'll pay 1 tap it, add Orzhov, just to get, get more of your, because you're playing 2 colors instead of my last deck, which was just 1, so you want to keep the consistency. You got the 2 medallions here, Pearl and Jet. These reduce the costs of both black and white. And what's really interesting is that multicolored cards such as Elenda, they count as both, so they should cost 2 less. So pretty good. We got Burnished Heart, just a commander staple right there. Get some land. And Gilded Lotus, which is actually a newer edition. 5 mana, add 3. And the only reason it's newer is because it just got reprinted, so it's not expensive anymore. It's just a really good card. So that does it for the semi-ramping. There's not really a lot. I've been playing around with this. It's just really hard to balance it out, but I think that for right now, this is pretty good. It's been helping me quite a lot. So next we're going to go into the toolbox / the removal. Black is really good at removal of creatures, and like I said, white is really good at enchantments and artifacts. So, and then toolbox is just, I like to call it like just useful cards. So these 2 right here are Blood Artist and Zulport Cutthroat. When you're sacking your creatures, or when other things are dying, in the case of this guy, you're draining your opponents and you're gaining life. That's just always a good thing to drain your opponent. And they're 2 mana, so it's really not hard. Next we got Dictate of Erebos and Grave Pact. They both kind of do the same thing, except Dictate is a little bit more expensive in mana, but it has Flash, which is really good. People really don't like these cards. You can wipe boards with them, really nice. Hero's Downfall, just destroy a creature, destroy a problem, or even a planeswalker, so that's always good. Or you can just play Vindicate, destroy any permanent. Great card there. Next we got Tragic Slip. This is actually a really cool card because you can sacrifice your own token and then pay one and give, I don't know, Ulamog -13/-13. So it basically destroys, well, it doesn't destroy, it makes their defense 0. So it automatically kills them. It gets around indestructible creatures, and it's just a very good card, especially 1 mana. The other 1 mana is, Swords to Plowshares. This doesn't kill things, but it does get around indestructible. It's just you kind of need it for going against some pretty established boards. Next you got Mortify, which gives you the option to destroy a creature or an enchantment. Pretty good. Next you got your 2 main board wipes here. You got Day of Judgment and Damnation, both 4 mana. They both destroy all creatures. Damnation's a little better because they can't regenerate, but I mean, nobody really regenerates, so you just got both worlds there. And then Austere Command is another, we're tilting here. Austere Command is another really good one. A little expensive in the mana side, but you get an option of destroying things with 3 or less, so you can avoid killing Elenda, and you can get rid of, especially against other token decks, this is really good. All artifacts, all enchantments, again, really good. So next we're going to be getting into the more toolbox for drawing cards, which white is not good at, but black is kind of good at card drawing. So let's first get into our Skull Clamp. People hate this card because it lets you draw 2 cards. Just equip it to a 1/1, make it die, and then draw 2 cards, which is just insane. Next we got Arguel's Bloodfast. 2 mana, pay 2 life, draw a card. I mean, it's really, really good. And its transformation is not really that amazing. You just get a land. It's a sack outlet. You gain life equal to his toughness. So, I mean, it's a sack outlet, but you have to have 5 or less life, which is, you're basically losing by then anyway. I just use it to draw cards, so another pretty good one there. Next we got Smothering Abomination. This is a fantastic card because not only does it make you sacrifice things, it also says whenever you sacrifice a creature, which you're doing a lot, you get to draw cards. And that's just an amazing ability to do. And if at any time you just can't do it, you can sacrifice himself. So that's always good. Phyrexian Arena, because you're playing black, just get more cards. Next you got your 2 tutors. The only 2 you can play, well, except Vampiric and stuff, but these are the ones I like to run. Enlightened Tutor to get your artifacts or enchantments, so your sack outlets, and then Demonic Tutor to get anything. So, really good stuff there. Next we're going to be going into, well, the token generators. These are this is where most of the deck is, because tokens are just good because they die from people swinging at you, so they're good chump blockers, and you get to use your sack outlets to destroy them, or sack them, so. Animation module, this one's a little weird at first, but basically, since Elenda, whenever you're killing something, she's getting a counter, you can pay 1 and make a servo, so, you can keep going with that, just keep using mana. Bloodline Keeper, he makes 2/2 black vampires with flying, and he's flying himself, really good. And when you transform him, which you won't be really doing too often, but other vampires you control get +2/+2, make a vampire. So really good because again, Elenda is also a vampire, so buffs Elenda and makes tokens. Awesome. Next you got this is basically a win condition right here, it's Crested Sunmare. He makes, at the beginning of each end step, if you gained life this turn, make a 5/5. And other horses you control are indestructible. So, as you can tell, Elenda has lifelink. There's a lot of things. White is really good at gaining life, so you can gain life a lot of different ways here. Ophiomancer just makes snakes each turn. You can keep sacking them. It's really good because it's each upkeep. Hero of Blade Hold, very strong card, and it has Battle Cry, which is amazing, and it makes 2 1/1s, which people are going to want to block, so they're going to die. Elenda's going to get stronger. Another one of those is Brimaz. This is an amazing card. Great in the opening hand. He makes cats whenever he attacks or blocks, and he has Vigilance. Just all around great card and token generator. You have Oketra. She has a 4 mana make tokens ability, so pretty good. Twilight Drover. He keeps buff. He's like another Elenda except only for tokens. And you can pay 3 and remove a counter and create 2 tokens. So he himself is a token generator, and he can also get pretty big. So really good there. Next we got Heliod. Giving everything in Vigilance is really good, and he makes 2/1 white clerics, so not bad. Weaponcraft Enthusiast. A lot of people think it's weird that I have this card, but it's a 3 mana. It's 3 mana for 3 bodies, and that's a really good trade-off, honestly. Secure the Waste, just really good to do in someone's end step, get a few tokens. Anointed Possession, this is another amazing win condition. You can just keep making even more tokens with this. It's just absurd. Next we got Promise of Boonry. It's basically 3 mana, create 4 spirits, because it's whenever a creature you control is put to the graveyard, so you can put it out, sack something, and make 4 spirits, so very good. Sacred Mesa, not a lot of people actually know about this card, but it's really good. So at the beginning, it's really good in the late game. You don't want to put it out if you only have 3 mana, so just as an FYI. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice this enchantment unless you sacrifice a Pegasus. You can pay 2, put a 1/1 white Pegasus with flying. So you get your flying in, 2 mana, making a 1/1, just amazing. So in the later game, you can make a bunch of 1/1s with flying, and then you have to sack at the beginning, but that's fine. And you got the 2 planeswalkers. Focus camera, thank you. Sorin, he's just a great card. He makes tokens with this one. You get an emblem buffing all your creatures, and then his ultimate's, just destroying things, so it's really not that bad. But Elspeth's amazing. Her plus is making 3 tokens, and if you get her emblem, you basically win the game, because creatures you control have flying and +2/+2, so... And she's also a board wipe, so it's, very useful card right there. Anyway, now we're going to go into our... before we get into the sack outlets, we're going to go into the reanimation, because we want Elenda back on the battlefield when she dies, and there's other things that we want, as well. So here's a combo for all you guys. You're definitely going to want to play Revelark and Karma Guide, especially in this deck when you can easily send them to the graveyard, and you can easily go off from there. I've had a few combos, because basically Revelark returns Karma Guide returns Revelark, so it just keeps going from there, and it's very good. And she also has Echo, which is amazing, which means even if you don't have a sack outlet, she can still die, so very good combos right there. Next we have Hell's Caretaker. This one is a different language, but basically it says at your upkeep, you can tap it, sacrifice a creature, and return a creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. So it kills things, which is awesome. It gets Elenda back, which is also awesome. And you can get Crested Sunmare back by sacking a creature. Very good. Gift of Immortality. You definitely want to equip this to Elenda. It basically doesn't make her indestructible, but it makes her be able to die and then come back. So she dies, gets all the tokens. Amazing. Grim Return. This is really good when you have 3 mana open. If it's your turn, you don't have to use this. It's mostly in response, in someone's end step after they board wipe or something. You can return Elenda back. So classic Reanimate, just doesn't really need explaining. Beacon of Unrest, a little more expensive in mana than Reanimate, but you also get to return an artifact, which is, you know, pretty nice, and it shuffles back. So now the equipment. Blade of the Bloodchief. This is a great card. Basically, when you equip it to Elenda, it makes it so she gets 3 +1/+1 counters instead of 1 whenever something dies. She can really get up very fast with that. Fallen Ideal. This is probably the best enchantment in this deck, honestly. It makes her have flying, which is, you know, great evasion. And she gets her own sacrifice effect. You get to sack creatures, and she gets stronger from that. And then when Fallen Ideal is put into the graveyard, put it back in your hand. It's really good. Elenda really benefits from this. If you have this, use it. It's amazing. Swiftfoot to protect Elenda, get your plays out faster. And then Darksteel Plate, make her indestructible as a sort of a protection. Commander favorite. And now finally the sack out. Well, not finally, but the sack outlets after this is lands. Of course, Yahenni himself. He's a really great creature because he can be a win condition, kind of. But he's a sack outlet and he can protect himself. So very good. Cartel Aristocrat. You're mainly using her as to kill your own things. So that's all she's really there for. Eiley is a pretty favorite commander, but her sack effect is very good, and since you have Elenda, and if she's large enough, you're gaining a lot of life. So if you have more than 40 life, you can just exile things, which is very nice. Very nice control card. Next you got Carrion Feeder, your 1 mana 1/1. He's a sack outlet. He gets bigger whenever you sack things. He was part of the combo I had one time where I made him an infinite basically. And I kept going off with Karma Guide and stuff. Really good. Vampiric Rites. This is a good card because, especially with Crested Sunmare, because you gain 1 life from it, you sack a creature, and you get to draw a card. And it's only 1 mana. Very good card. Hidden Stockpile is also very good because you're sacking your things all the time. So basically at your end step, you can make a servo. And then you can pay 1, sack a creature, and scry 1. So when it's someone's end step, you can do this to see what your next card's going to be. So if you're getting mana flooded, if it's a land, put it down, you know, stuff like that. And it's a sack outlet, so that's what you want. Attrition. This is a great card because not only can you sack your own things, you can also control the board by destroying your opponent's stuff. So Alter Dementia. People don't know why I play this, and the reason I say I play this is because it's 2 mana. And it's a sack outlet. That's really all you need to know. Obviously, you're not going to want to mill the zombie player, but if someone really doesn't like getting milled, you can use this. You can just keep using it, keep milling them, which, you know, it's a good strategy. Spawning Pit. It's like Alter Dementia. This one's actually better because if you have 2 charge counters, you can pay 1 and make another token, so you can keep going. Ashnod's Altar, probably the best sack outlet here. 3 mana, sack a creature, add 2. It's like a soul ring. It's probably one of the best sack outlets in the game. And finally, Grafted War Gear. It's not really a sack outlet technically, but you can pump your things, and you can pump your tokens to like 4/3s, which is awesome, and then unequip it, and it gets sacrificed. Because whenever you unattach, and its equip is 0, so you can just keep doing it. So, great card. And finally, the mana base. Unlike my green deck, this does have non-basics, so, but most of it is basics. So we have 13 plains and 13 swamps here. So that's the start of the mana base. I only play 1 cycling land because I find if you have more than 1 and you need mana, they enter tap, so it's not really that good. But I like this one. So Command Tower, it taps for anything, really good. Forbidden Orchard also taps for anything, and you get to give your opponents 1/1s. You can play some pretty cool mind tricks with this card because you can give someone who's struggling a 1/1, they become your friend. It's like politics. But if you're not using it for that, you can use it. They can use it as a chump blocker, and their things are dying. Elenda's getting stronger. You're gaining a lot of life. High Market is really good. It's a sack outlet, and you gain life. So with Crested Sunmare, another really good combo piece. Keldoran Outpost, I think is what's called. It doesn't come into play tapped, but you have to sacrifice a plains. It adds white, and it also, if you pay 2, you can make a 1/1. So it's a land that's a token generator. So it's very good. Caves, just great card right here. I'll admit it, it's pretty good in the opening hand. You do ping yourself, but if you're gaining life, it really doesn't matter. Got your Godless Shrines, your enters tap unless you pay 2. Fantastic card. Isolated Chapel. It enters tapped unless you control plains or swamp. Really good. Orzhov Basilica. This one's pretty good. It just taps for both. But you know, it's really good in the beginning turns, so you can get it all set up. Temple of Silence, really good because it enters tapped, but you get to scry 1. That's always good. And then finally, Rogue's Passage, just making Elenda unblockable for the win. I put this in a lot of decks for some reason because, I don't know, it's one of my favorite lands. So, but anyway, that about does it for the deck tech. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. That'd really help us out. I'll leave a link to both this deck list and the Henny version in the description below. It's on Tapped Out, so really good website. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next deck tech. Peace out.